Good morning, dear students. The next topic we have to discuss, that is regarding the applications of electromeric effect. So far we have seen what is an electromeric effect. Electromeric effect means it is a temporary effect which involves the transfer of the shared pair of electrons present in a double or triple bond, isn't it? So it is the complete transfer of the electron pair of the electrons or the electron pair present in between two atoms to another atom. That is what is called as this electromeric effect. So after having this electromeric effect, the formed ions will be having positive as well as negative charges, isn't it? The species will be having positive or negative charge. Next is the applications. So the first application, that is addition to C double bond C bonds. Addition to C double bond C bond in alkenes. Addition to C double bond C bond in alkenes. Here consider the addition of bromine atom in ethylene molecule. Ethylene molecule means it is CH2 double bond CH2, ethylene molecule. So it is an alkene. Ethylene molecule means it is alkene. That is a double bonded compound. So here what happens is that, see, due to the presence of the pi electron, see, in the case of CH2 double bond CH2, one of the bond is a sigma bond and the other one it is a pi bond, right? So due to the presence of the pi electrons, what happens is that this bromine molecule will be polarized. Polarized means some charge difference will be occurring in this case of bromine. Okay, bromine molecule. So one of the bromine atom will be getting a partial positive charge and the second atom will be getting a partial negative charge. Okay, so this polarization of this particular bromine molecule, it is due to the presence of the pi electrons present in ethylene molecule. Okay, so here what happens, Br will be having delta positive and the second Br will be having delta negative charge. Okay. See here, both of the atoms are the same. That means they are this is a homoatomic molecule, isn't it? There is no electronegativity difference between these two. So a complete charge separation is not possible, as only a slight charge separation, that is delta positive and delta negative. Okay. Then the next is we have to take into consideration this ethylene molecule, CH2 double bond CH2. So to this ethylene molecule, this polarized molecule will be approaching. So Br delta positive and Br delta negative. So here what happens is that due to the presence of this polarized molecule, in this particular molecule, that is in this ethylene molecule, the pi electron pair shift will be taking place. Okay, so this is the pi electron or the pi bond. So this pi electron will be moving to this carbon atom. Okay, both the pi electrons will be moving to this carbon atom. So what happens? This carbon atom will be getting a negative charge with 2 electrons and this carbon atom will be getting a positive charge. Okay, so the electron shift will be like this. It can be in the reverse order also. It can be like this from, let us say, this one be the first carbon and this be the second carbon. So the electron shift can be from 1 to 2 or it can be from 2 to 1, since it is a symmetric molecule, isn't it? See, if we are cutting this molecule into two equal halves, we will into two halves, we will be getting two equal halves, right? So that means it is a symmetric molecule. So the pi electron transfer can take place to any of these carbon atoms. Both cases are the same. So here I am drawing this to the second carbon atom. So what happens? This carbon atom, the first carbon will be getting a positive charge. Then one sigma bond is there. Then the second carbon atom with a negative charge and 2 electrons. Okay. Then to this molecule, this Br plus will be added up. Okay. Br plus or Br minus. So I am writing this molecule, that is CH2 plus single bond CH2 minus. Okay. To this Br, first of all I am adding this Br positive, that means bromonium ion. Okay, so while this bromonium ion is adding, what happens? The positive charge, sorry, I'm writing it like this: Br delta positive, Br delta negative. Okay, so this Br negative, I am not Br negative, I am adding the Br positive to the CH2 negative. Okay, Br positive to CH2 negative. Okay, so what happens? We will be getting this CH2 molecule, that is CH2 with positive charge, then single bond, then CH2. So to the CH2 minus, one Br plus will be adding. Okay, to the CH2 minus, Br plus will be adding. So it will be becoming CH2 plus single bond CH2 Br. Okay, plus the remaining molecule will be Br delta negative or Br negative. So here it is not a slight positive charge, so it becomes Br negative. Okay. Then in the next step, this Br negative will be going to be added to this CH2 plus. Okay. That means CH2 plus single bond CH2 single bond Br plus Br minus, giving CH2 Br single bond CH2 Br. Okay. So this is the molecule, this compound, this is 1,2-dibromoethylene. 1,2-dibromo, so not ethylene, 1,2-dibromoethane. 1,2-dibromoethane. Okay, CH2Br, single bond CH2Br. Okay, so this is the first application, or the addition to this double bond by a homoatomic molecule, okay, to this bromine atom. So first, in the first step, this bromine atom will be polarized and it will be getting positive and negative charges. Then Br plus, the bromonium ion will be adding to the CH2 minus, so that we will be obtaining a cation. So the first product will be a cation. Then to that cation, the negatively charged bromine atom will be adding. So the compound will be 1,2-dibromoethane. Then the next one, the next reaction, or the next application, that is addition of HBr to ethylene. Addition of HBr to ethylene. Addition of HBr to ethylene molecule. So here in this case, see, HBr means it is a heteroatomic molecule, isn't it? Both of this can be ionized. So due to the presence of this ethylene molecule, or the due to the polarization effect of this pi electrons present in ethylene molecule, what happens? This HBr will be ionizing to H plus and Br minus. So that is the first step. Then what happens? The similar steps will be followed like as in the previous case. So we can write CH2 double bond CH2 in presence of HBr. In presence of H plus and Br minus, in presence of H plus and Br minus, what happens? This electron pair will be shifting to this carbon atom, so that we will be getting CH2 plus single bond CH2 minus. Okay, the electron pair will be shifting to this carbon atom. Then again to this species, that is CH2 plus single bond CH2 minus, this positively charged species will be added up, that is H plus will be added up in the first step. So what happens is H plus will be going to the negatively charged carbon. So we will be having CH2 plus single bond CH3, right? Then in the next step, CH2 plus single bond CH3 in the presence of Br minus. So this Br minus will be going to the CH2 group, or CH2 plus. So the compound becomes CH2, Br, then CH3. That is CH3, CH2, Br. Okay, the compound is CH3, CH2, Br. So this compound is ethyl bromide. Ethyl bromide, or 1-bromoethane. Okay, so this is the second addition of HBr to ethylene. So it is simply, this is heterolysis. One of the atom will be getting positive charge and the other will be getting a negative charge. Then see, this pi electrons will be shifting to one of the carbon atom, so that both of them will be getting a positive as well as negative charge. Then the H plus will be added up to the CH2 molecule, CH2 minus. Then we will be having ethyl cation. This is ethyl carbocation. Ethyl. This is CH3, CH2 group means it is ethyl group. So this species is ethyl carbocation. Ethyl carbocation. So this to this ethyl carbocation, Br minus is added up. So the compound is ethyl bromide. Okay. Then the next application, that is addition to keto group, that is C double bond O group. CO group is keto group. Addition to CO. So here we are considering the addition of HCN molecule to an aldehyde. Keto group will be present in both aldehyde as well as CO group will be present in both aldehyde as well as ketone, isn't it? Ketone means the functional group is C double bond O ketone, while in the case of aldehyde it is CH double bond O. CH double bond O. So this is an aldehyde group. CHO is aldehyde group. So this HCN addition can be done in both the cases, that is in ketone as well as in aldehydes. So first of all, what is the first step? This HCN will be ionizing to form H plus and Cn minus. Okay, HCN will be ionizing to H plus and Cn minus. Then here this nucleophile will be attacking this carbonyl group in the first step. Okay, the nucleophile, here the nucleophile means Nu minus. Nucleophile is Nu minus. So the nucleophile will be attacking this CHO group. So let us write an aldehyde RCH double bond O. So to this species Cn minus will be attacking. Okay. So while this nucleophile is attacking, what happens? This is a hetero group, isn't it? One of them is a carbon atom and the other is an oxygen atom. So there is an electronegativity difference, and also oxygen has got more electronegativity. So the pi electron pair will be shifting to this oxygen atom. Okay. The pi electron pair will be shifting to this oxygen atom. So we will be having RCH, then single bond O. Then this carbon atom will be getting positive charge and oxygen will be getting negative. Okay. Then in the next step, RCH plus single bond O minus. So to this species, this Cn minus will be added up. Okay. So what about the Cn minus? Cn minus, it is having a negative charge. So the negatively charged species will be moving to a positively charged species. So we will be having RCH, then Cn, then O minus. Okay. The Cn minus will be attacking this carbon atom. Then again in the next step, RC, Cn, then H, then O minus. So the remaining species, that is the H plus. Cn minus got added up. So in the next step, H plus will be added. So this H plus will be moving to this O minus. Okay. So the product is RCCN, H, then single bond OH. Okay. So this is the product. So this is the addition of an aldehyde group to an HCN molecule. Okay. So here the nucleophile will be attacking this species first. So this is another application of the electromeric effect. Hope you understand this electromeric effect. It is very simple. Then the next topic, that is conjugation. Conjugation. So we had completed the second electron displacement effect, this electromeric effect. Then the third one, that is the resonance. Before that, we have to study some terms, some important terms related to that particular resonance or mesomerism. Okay. So the first term you have to study, that is conjugation. So what do you mean by conjugation? See, suppose I am writing a compound C, single bond C, double bond C, then again single bond C, then double bond C. See, What about the peculiarity of this compound? This is a carbon skeleton, right? That means carbons are not filled, the valencies are not filled up. So here carbon has got 4 valencies. So for this carbon atom, 2 more valencies are there. So we can fill it by 2 with 2 hydrogens. Okay. So that the total valencies are satisfied. 2 double bond plus 2 hydrogens. So the valence is satisfied. So here 3 bonds are there. So remaining 1. So it is filled up by hydrogen. Then 1, 2, 3. Again H. Then 1, 2, 3. Again H. Then 1. So here it will be CH3. Okay. So what is the peculiarity of this compound? This particular compound has got alternate single and double bonds. Isn't it? This compound is having alternate single and double bonds. So if any compound, those having alternate single and double bonds are having with them, then these type of compounds we can call as conjugated compounds or conjugated molecules. Any compound which is having double bonds in their alternate position. Okay. So these compounds will be having double bonds in their alternate position. Double bonds in their alternate position. Then we can call that particular compound as conjugated compounds or conjugated molecules. Okay. So let us name this compound. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what about the positions of the double bonds? At the second and the fourth position, there is a double bond. See again, once again, whether the numbering it is from this carbon atom or from this carbon atom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the case of numbering, we have to, there is a rule that the numbering should be done just like that. That means the functional group will be getting the least number. Okay. So here the functional group is the double bond. So here in this way, if we are numbering, we will be having double bonds at the second and the fifth position, right? But in the second case, the numbering, if it is done in this manner, what about the numbering 1 and 3 will be having the double bonds, isn't it? First and third carbon atom will be having double bonds. So the least numbering for the double bonds, it will be occurring in the second manner, isn't it? If the numbering it is done in the second way, the least numbering will be happening. So we can name this particular compound as 1, 3. Then how many carbon atoms are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 carbon atoms. So it will be 1, 3. 5 carbon means it will be penta. Then how many double bonds? 2 double bonds. So it will be 1, 3 pentadiene. Okay. This compound is 1, 3 pentadiene. Okay. So this is called as conjugation. Conjugation means that the double bonds will be in the alternate positions. Then the next compound, that is vinyl chloride. Vinyl chloride. Vinyl chloride, the formula is CH2 double bond CH2 double bond CH single bond Cl. So this chlorine atom will be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total 7 electrons, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here 1 electron. So this chlorine will be having 7 electrons. See here in the case of vinyl chloride, there is a double bond, isn't it? Double bond, and in the alternate position there will be electrons. There will be lone pair of electrons, isn't it? It will be having double bond and lone pair of electron. Okay. So such type of compounds also we can include them in the category of this conjugated compounds. Okay. So vinyl chloride is also an example for conjugated compounds. Hope you are clear with this term conjugation. Then the next one, that is the mesomerism. Mesomerism. So here mesomerism, normally you have seen benzene ring, and the structure of benzene ring we will be representing like this, isn't it? Or otherwise we will be writing the structure just like this one, that is the double bonds. The position of the double bonds will be changed. it will be like this. Okay. And also the resonating structures will be represented by a double-headed arrow. So both of these structures, they are the resonating structures of benzene. That is, benzene can be represented by either structure 1 or by structure 2. Both the structures are the same. Or we can say that by using these two structures, all the properties of benzene can be explained completely. Okay. This, by using these two structures, all the properties can be explained. All the properties can be explained completely. All the properties can be explained completely. Okay, so that is the first point to be noted down. Then, but one of the cases that, but if we are considering the first structure, it cannot explain all the properties. If we are taking each individual structure cannot explain all the properties, but together these two structures can explain all the properties. That is the peculiarity of these two particular resonating structures. And also the actual structure will not be these two structures. Okay, while considering the case of benzene ring, the actual structure will not be these two structures. It will be an intermediate, or it will be lying, the actual structure will be lying in between these two structures. Okay, so this mesomerism, the term mesomerism means when a molecule, it is represented by a particular structure satisfying all the valency rules, but but each of the structure cannot explain all the properties. Okay, each structure can't explain all the properties. Each structure can't explain all the properties, but both the structure can explain all the properties. Together they can explain all the properties. Okay, so each of the structure cannot explain all the properties, but both of them can explain all the properties, and the actual structure or the real structure lies in between these two. Real structure lies in between these two structures. Real structure lies in between these two structures. Okay, so this is the phenomenon called as mesomerism. Okay, so mesomerism, the definition for mesomerism we can write like this. So mesomerism means when a molecule, it is represented by two or more electronic structures satisfying all the valency rules. Here the valency rules are satisfied. Carbon is completely filled up in both the cases, isn't it? Satisfying all the valency rules, and each structure is capable of explaining some of the properties. Okay, each structure is capable of explaining some of the properties, but none of them cannot explain all the properties. The molecule, the real structure of the molecule will be lying in between these two structures. So this phenomenon, it is called as mesomerism. Okay. And also in mesomerism, we will be using this double-headed arrow to represent the two structures. Then the next is the resonance. See, this mesomerism or the term resonance, it can be used analogous. That means both are used in the same meaning, only a slight difference between these two terms. Okay. So resonance also, we can write the definition like this. So here for benzene we had written two structures, isn't it? The first structure and the second structure. So these two are the structures 1 and 2. We can say that they are the resonating structures of benzene. Structures 1 and 2 are called as the resonating structures of benzene. 1 and 2 are called as the resonating structures. And also the actual structure, it will be, or the real structure, it will be in between these two structures. Okay, so the actual molecule is said to be the actual structure, it is called as a resonance hybrid. The actual structure will be a resonance hybrid of these two structures. And see here we had got two structures 1 and 2, and these structures we can call it as the resonating structures of benzene, resonating structures, or the other name is canonical structures. Resonating or canonical or limiting structures. So these are the three terms involved: resonating or canonical or limiting structures. So they are the resonance hybrid. These are the resonance hybrids of this particular compound. Okay. So that is a resonance, and also there are some conditions for resonance. Hope you are clear with this resonating structures. The different structures that we obtain, they are called as the resonating or canonical or limiting structures. Then the next is the conditions for resonance. This is important. Resonating structures and the conditions for resonance. So the first condition is that the positions of the atomic nuclei, in each resonating structure, will be the same, will be or nearly the same. Will be or nearly the same. Okay. The positions of the atomic nuclei in each resonating structure will be or nearly the same. Then the second one, the number of unpaired electrons. The number of unpaired electrons in each structure will be the same. The number of unpaired electrons in each structure will be the same. So the first point, positions of the atomic nuclei. The positions of the nuclei will not be changing. Then the second one, the number of unpaired electrons will be the same. Then the third one, the various canonical structures or limiting structures. The various canonical structures will be having the same energy. The various canonical structures will be having the same energy. Then the fourth point, the positions of electrons, the average positions of electrons in the limiting structures will be the same. The positions of the electrons in various limiting structures will be the same. Then the fifth point, the limiting structures will be written in a common structural pattern. Will be written in a common structural pattern or in a common structural scheme. Then the sixth point, the more stable a resonating structure, larger will be its contribution. Larger will be its contribution to resonance. Larger will be its contribution to resonance. So these are some of the points to be noted down. The first condition for resonance, that is the positions of atomic nuclei in each resonating structure will be the same. The second one, number of unpaired electrons will be the same. The position of the total number of unpaired electrons in the different resonating structures will be the same. Then the canonical or the different resonating structures will be having the same energy. Then the average positions of electrons in each canonical structure will be the same. Then the fifth point, the limiting structures will be following some common structural pattern or some common structural scheme. Then the last point, the more stable a resonating structure, the larger will be its contribution to the resonance structure. Okay. So these are some of the conditions for resonance. So this is very important. Normally a question will be asked like this: define resonance. or define mesomerism. Both the terms are analogous. That means both are used. Both terms are having the same meaning. So only a very slight difference between the terms. So both the terms are analogous, and also so define resonance or define mesomerism, and what are the conditions for resonance. Okay, so you have to study this particular question. It is very, very important. Usually an asked question. Conditions for resonance. So very, very important. Okay, conditions for resonance. So in the next session we will be discussing the isovalent as well as heterovalent resonance. So for today it will be okay, and thank you. Have a nice day.